Hey guys, Khalid from Cricket Fanatics magazine here with another episode of the Lockdown series. Today, bringing you Grant Thomson. So, welcome to the show, Grant.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's good to catch up.
Yeah, great to catch up again. So let's go with this and start with how I normally start the show. Let's talk about the lockdown. Specifically, I want to go into your training regimes and how basically the Titans what sort of programs they've given you. But
Yeah.
also, I'd like to hear some insights into your training methods with regards to cricket. It can be quite difficult. You being all rounder, both disciplines you have to master. Can you maybe give some tips to those youngsters out there that are stuck in lockdown that really want to get their cricket skills sharp as well?
Yeah, I've just come straight out of an operation. I had a knee op just before the lockdown started. So I've been just rehabbing with my knee. I was in a mobilization machine for 6 hours a day for 6 weeks. So that was tough.
What's that about?
So yeah, I did a microfracture surgery where they do little microfractures in the actual bone to try and get some regrowth of your cartilage. And then it's actually a machine that bends your knee, straight and and bend it again. So it had to be in there for 6 hours so it doesn't lock or whatever the case. I'm not going to try and be a doctor or anything, but yeah. So yeah, that was challenging just mentally, not being able to do anything. So I think the timing was right because we weren't allowed outside or be able to do anything. So that made it a little bit easier. And then in terms of rehab, anything on the floor basically. So like hip hop ups and activation of certain muscle groups and things like that. So that was that for the first 6 weeks. And then I've been slowly allowed to start walking. So I've been on crutches, and then I went from 25% for the first week, then to 50% the next week, 75%, and then 50%. So yeah, it's a long, drawn-out process. So for me, at least, it's kind of nice to have this time to get these things done. So in terms of obviously cricket skills, I've been on my back and not much else. And then slowly, I've been cycling now for about a month. No impact on the knee, and then you're starting to row now as well with a few body weight exercises here and there. As far as the Titans are concerned, our trainer Grant, he's been sending out programs for the guys. It's been quite tough because the first 6 weeks we weren't allowed to exercise outside. So it just depends on what the guys have got in their house. If they've got a bit of a space to run around, and guys have been doing some sprints, a bit of sprint training, repeat sprints and things like that, along with a whole lot of body weight exercises and obviously trying to get their core nice and strong. So obviously now with the lockdown going out, we could train from 6 to 9 in the morning. The guys got a bit of a running program as well. I think started off, quite easy with about 15 Ks a week. Grant wasn't too specific in how you want to achieve that. So you got a week to get to 15 Ks on your feet type of thing. And you can do 5 Ks 3 times a week, or split it up, or whatever the case may be. And then you obviously just increasing that workload so that we get time on our feet again. As cricketers, we spend lots of time in the field, so time on the legs is always good. In terms of skills, we haven't done anything because it's generally our off season. We try and take a break as professionals. I think if you can, if you don't have a series coming up, I know the Protea guys might have been trying to get a bit of bowling work in there. So I saw a guy like Lungi was just bowling with a tennis ball against the wall, just to get those right muscles firing again. You don't want to get into a situation where, all right, we're on a tour now, or the government says, right, we can go, and you haven't bowled a ball in 6 weeks. Yeah. So I think that's what a few of the guys have been doing, bowling with medicine balls. You get those little soft, like a small medicine ball. It's almost like it's like a beanbag type of thing. And the guys have been bowling a few balls in the garden and things like that, just to get it, like I said, just get those muscles firing again and working. So that's generally what we've been up to. Obviously, just depends on what the guys have got resource-wise. A few of the guys have got weights and stuff, so they've been doing a bit of weight training as well.
Have you guys also resorted to these like Zoom meetings where you guys catch up with each other and have a chat about what you guys have been up to?
Yeah, we've had quite a few Zoom meetings now over the last month, I think. Started off just just getting the background of where we're going, the likelihood of cricket, starting up again and things like that. And then now with the Titans, we've actually done quite a lot of planning over Zoom meeting in terms of our culture and our team culture, and our dynamics and things like that. We've got quite a few new players.
Yeah.
First time in a long time that I think the Titans have signed so many fresh guys. I think we've got 4 or 5 guys from the outside, and then I think 4 or 5 guys from Easterns and Northerns that they've just been upgraded for their first franchise contract, let's put it that way. So it's quite a fresh group. So we're just going through our key team culture and kind of what is expected as a Titans player.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we know from 2 guys from the Cape, or not necessarily. One is not really born in the Cape, but he played some of his cricket in the Cape. Obviously, Tandantini and obviously Lizard Williams as well, coming over there. I think they're going to be also. They're going to be awesome personalities on the field and in the dressing room. Have you seen some of that in the Zoom meetings? Have they come to their own yet?
No, I think it's tough in the Zoom environment. We get muted. So if whoever's speaking is someone else who's muted and that.
Okay, cool.
So we haven't really had much time to bring that out. I know Lazard and Tando is actually speaking tomorrow on a few topics. So that'll be good to see and hear what they have to say.
That's awesome. So Grant, your story. I got a bit of it when I interviewed you before at Newlands when you guys came down to play. I got a little bit about your journey, but I want to go into a little bit more in depth about it. Obviously, first of all, being a Cricket Fanatics channel, this is Cricket Fanatics magazine, obviously a cricket fan channel. I would say that you guys are actually the first fanatics because you guys were fans of the game first, and now you're doing what you love as a profession, which a lot of people would dream of being able to do, working in their passion and in their fields. So starting off as a fanatic, where did it start for you? What was there a particular game maybe, or a particular moment that made you fall in love with the game?
Sure, I've always been a cricket guy. So from such a young age, I think I must have been about 5 or 6 years old. I saw a cricket game on TV or something like that, and I just said to my dad, why don't you teach me how to bowl? And early in the morning, he used to show me a few things. I went to work, and then by the time he got home, I was like, come look. And according to him, it looked pretty good. So right from a young age, I used to watch a lot of cricket. Used to love going to the stadiums. I lived down the road from Willamore Park, Benoni. So, I went to go watch the Easterns guys play quite often. And then when I went to Cares as an older guy, then I shifted a little bit more to the Lions. Before the franchise system started, it was all Easterns. I remember, going to Willamore Park and sliding down the back there, the banks and things like that, on cardboard boxes and whatnot. So it's always been, I've always loved cricket. I always played it at a young age, quite fortunate that I've always been fairly good.
Yeah. So talk about your primary school days. When did you really start playing hardball cricket?
So I went just to a little local school up the road. I think it was Parkland Primary. It was literally up the road. I think I lived in the same road. So I went there, and we actually started with mini cricket, and played mini cricket for a bit, right from grade 1. I think it was grade 1 and 2, and then I went to Boxburg Cricket Club. I think we played. Actually, I lied to you. I started at CBC. CBC. I think I must have been about 8 or 9 playing for the under 10s or under 11s, something like that. A couple of years ahead, and then started playing for the school side as well. At a young age, and then obviously must have showed some sort of potential because my parents got quite interested in the whole cricket thing and made a few phone calls, and a guy by the name of Peter Stringer. I don't know if he's still around. Actually, lost contact. I think he might be at I forget what their school's name is now. But anyway, he saw me play and he said to my parents, you got to get this guy to a good cricketing school. And then I went to Keps, standard 4 and standard 5, so grade 6 and grade 7. Yeah.
Awesome. Obviously, you spoke about mini cricket, and the picture of this show was you with the mini cricket kids. Can you maybe talk to me a little bit about how important that mini cricket program is for the development of young cricketers and the introduction to the sport, and how that played an impact on your life and your career?
Yeah, I think it's very important because just it's such a fun way just to get kids active. I think that's the first and foremost. I think that behind what they were trying to do with the whole KFC is get the kids outside and just enjoying being active, with obviously introducing them to the cricket side. So I love going to those little cricket mini cricket or KFC cricket now that it's called. The kids just have such a great time, and you interact with the kids and you have so much fun. So I think that's so important as a young cricketer, is to enjoy cricket, because a lot of the guys, they get a little bit older and, even from a young age, 12, 13, 14, and they become so serious and they actually forget that cricket's a game and they need to have fun. If they go out for a duck or whatever, they mope around for a couple of days or a week, because they're upset that they didn't do well. But that's the only real time in your life that you're going to be able to really enjoy the game. Once you become a professional cricketer, the pressures and, obviously everything that comes with being a professional cricketer, you do maybe lose sight of having fun. So, yeah, I mean, I love those, especially in South Africa, to get the game to as many people as we can. I think that's brilliant. It's an easier way to get it around.
Yeah, and you spoke about KEPS. Is KEPS the primary school of KES?
Yes, yeah. King Henry Street Preparatory School.
School. Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah. So I went to a boys' school, Rondebosch Boys, and they have a primary school as well. So, but I wasn't at the primary school, but I know that when I was at the high school, I saw that a lot of the primary school kids used to come over to the high school to watch certain games and to watch certain sporting events. So obviously, KES has had some amazing cricketers that they produced, the likes of Neil McKenzie and Graham Smith, etc. So when you were younger, did you get to see them in action when you?
No, I never saw. Unfortunately, I never saw Graham and Neil. I was actually coached by Graham. Graham was my second team coach at KEPS in standard 4, grade 6. Yeah, so he finished. I think he finished the year or the year before. It must have been the year before, because he was our coach in the beginning of the season, and then he left to Cape Town. Okay. So I remember that. That was my first introduction to Graham. So I never saw him play for KES. I didn't, obviously coming from the outside, I wouldn't have seen much of the KES guys playing. Yeah. But yeah, so he was actually my coach. I wonder if he actually remembers that. But we had great players after that, like Vaughan van Jaarsveld, Blake Snyman, Richard Cameron, Richard Dasneves. So that was kind of my era going through KES. Vaughan was obviously the big thing there, breaking records and whatnot, and obviously Blake Snyman, and then there was a whole lot of other cricketers. Russell Tyndale, who played for Old Edwardians for quite a long time, hell of a cricketer as well. So we produced many cricketers throughout that period.
Yeah, because I had to get that timeline right in my head, but just actually figure out if you were like at primary school when Graham was in high school. I can't get the timeline right, but with regards to you and getting to high school, I mean, we know high school is kind of where your people's cricket takes off, especially with the Kamajolo weeks at the end of the when you get to matric and grade 11. Some people started reading grade 10. Playing those weeks. Can you maybe talk to me about your time at high school? What was key, and who were some of the players you played against and played with that really stood out to you and really gave you some tough battles?
Yeah, so we I played Gauteng under 13, and that was obviously in primary school. Gauteng under 15, I only made the B side. I had a bit of a tough season. or at the week, I got run out and I didn't bowl particularly well. So only ended up making the B side there, and then the under 17 A side for Gauteng, and then the under 19 A side.
Yeah.
So Umpile Romela was in my Coke Week team, and through those representative teams. And then we played against the likes of John Smuts, John O'Vandia at the Coke Week. I remember we played the Natal side. We must have scored about 220 odd, and I think we had them for, they must have been about 20 for 4, something like that. And thinking that the bag's in the game, and John O'Vandia gets 100 with Kesh, and they win by 6 wickets. So so that was obviously a tough one there. Like I said, John Smuts, a young David Miller, also from the KZN region. So those are a few of the players that we came across there.
Awesome. And obviously through the provinces, we've played for quite a few of them. I think most of your time, of course, was with Easterns itself, and then obviously you played for Gauteng also, and Northerns, and obviously the Titans. We know that. But talk to me about your semi-pro career. How you managed that? I know that you were part of it. If I'm correct in saying that you spent a lot of time with Richard and Neves, that like you spoke about. We had him on the show before, and he spoke quite highly of you. And you were part of that side that basically broke records in a way, I would say. So can you maybe talk to me about your semi-pro career and what stood out to you? What were some of the struggles that you had to go through, etc.?
Well, the early days of my career were really topsy-turvy. Straight after school, Eric Simons and Gary Kirsten opened an academy in Cape Town, the Fidentia Cricket Academy or something like that. So you, as a young player, you get picked up in that. Now you kind of think that you're going to be there for the next 4 years, working with some of the best cricket brains in the world, and then you're supposed to be doing some studyings and things like that. So you have a bit of a plan. We get there, everything's working out smoothly. You're having a great time, and then Fidentia went bankrupt.
Sure.
And within a week, we basically kicked out. So as a young 18-year-old, 19, not really having a plan. And then Lawrence, the under 19 coach now, was our strikers coach at the time. He got me into the Lions Academy, so I went straight into the Lions Academy, which was quite nice. Went overseas for the next 2 winters as well. Made my debut for the Strikers in 2009, and it was a really good time. We had some fantastic all-rounders, like I said, Shane Berger, Richard Cameron, Heinrich Leroux, even a guy like Craig Knox as well, who was also around. Some fantastic cricketers. So to be around those type of all-rounders for me was exciting. I learned a hell of a lot from those guys, and obviously had to get my game, improve my game at quite a quick level to try and compete. And then so played a couple of games, did quite well, and like you said, we were in a fantastic team. I made my debut at the Wanderers. I think we were having to beat a strong pole team. What is it? Boland. So it's Boland. Yeah. And you got a Stian van Sail, Justin Ontong playing. That's my first wicket is Justin Ontong caught Temba Bavuma at Gully. So that's the type of cricket. I think myself and Stephen Cook have a 70 or 80 run partnership in that game as well. And I got 7 off like 70 balls. So it was just it was a tough game, but we won that by an innings actually, and that to get us into the final. So so during that period, playing a few T20s as well the following year. I was in and out of the side a lot due to obviously like a Richard Cameron and a Shane Berger coming in up and down from the Lions, and a Heinrich Leroux as well. So basically, if they were playing for the Lions, or one of them would be injured, then I'd get a crack. So really tough to get a lot of game time, and obviously we only played around 6 or 7 games back then in any case. So it wasn't a lot of first-class cricket that we're playing as well. And then when I was going to kind of get a extended run, I actually in a preseason game I tore my PCL in my knee. I slid for a ball there in Potch at Fochville, and my knee got cut. Got caught in a sprinkler head, and I went through it like that. So that was quite upsetting. So I missed basically a whole season there. And then when I came back, got injured again, and there was just no continuity in that. And then a few players obviously jumped ahead. So very frustrated, not sure what's happening. Then the following season, also played 1 or 2 games, messed around, and then that's when I made the move to Easton's. Their all-rounder at the time, O'Connor, he retired, and there was a space open there, and I moved to Easton's to basically get more game time. With always the thought and the thinking that you're gonna move back to your home province and where you grew up playing your cricket. But I felt like I was just maybe missing too much first class games, not getting that experience. So that's maybe one of the reasons, the main reason I moved across to the east. And then, needless to say, I haven't really left since then. So
yeah.
No, it's been I suppose the biggest one, the biggest challenge for my semi-pro career was the one season. I think you're doing really well. Obviously, there's obviously the Titans at the time were really strong as well. So there you're doing really well at a semi-pro level as well. For the Eastern side coming in, I was a little bit all over the place, and then found my feet and actually started playing some really good cricket. And then not to get the opportunity to play for the Titans when you feel that you're ready and you feel like you deserve it. And then then I lost my contract as well. Change of coaches. I think Gerard Maria was coach, and when he left, it was a bit of I actually don't know what happened, but didn't end up getting a contract at the Eastern side as well. So I actually retired from cricket. I actually called it a day. I said I was going to go and find a job, and I was working at the Jimmy Cook Cricket Academy at the time. I was going to look at maybe pursuing my coaching career a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And then Rob Walter, heard about this. He gave me a call and he said, what are your movements like? And he basically convinced me just to play white ball cricket for Easton's for that season. So I played the Africa Cup, and I played a few games for the Titans before that as well. I played 2 or 3 games, leading up to a trophy as well, and then I played a few 4-day games as well, doing quite nicely. So very frustrated, and then I didn't get a contract. So very tough decision. I think I was about 26 around the time. Sure. So 26, 27, and then came back, played Africa Cup, did really nicely. Then basically played the whole season of white ball cricket for the Titans, was one-day player of the year, and then got a professional contract after that. So so I think that was
story. I mean, to talk about that, I mean, that's resilience. That's the definition of resilience. We talk about a lot of players like Rassie van der Dussen that went through a tough time, only getting their debut for the Proteas, obviously so late on in the career. I mean, your resilience is a lesson to all young cricketers. But I really want to try to get to know you better. So the best way for me to do that is to get some help. So how's it, Wesley?
Hello guys, hello Grant.
Hello Wes.
Thanks for having me.
I don't know if I should keep you on here with that shirt, man. Yes, sir.
No, I watched the one with Richard Desneves on, and I saw too much Man United talk, so I thought I'd bring a bit of Liverpool in. I know Grant's also a massive Liverpool fan, so I'll have some support there. So
good shirt.
And today I'm alone against 2 Liverpool guys. Damn it, I should have brought another Man United. I should have put Richard on the show.
There's far too much United talk before.
Looks like you guys are going to win the league, probably. That's the horrible thing for me, but okay.
Yeah, my first question to Grant was how long he thinks once the league commences before we actually lift the trophy. We want to know if we're going to be able to have a party watching us lift the trophy. So get his thoughts on what's happening with Liverpool with the last 4 or 5 weeks or what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's hard to say, Wes, but I reckon 3 games time. I reckon that's I'm calling it.
3 games time.
3
Sounds
games
good.
time.
We'll get the bra ready.
There we go.
From United shirt.
And the bottle stores are open now as well, which is nice.
Which is very nice. That is true.
I had a United shirt. Wow.
There you go.
There's one story that I'd like you to tell the viewers, and just I think it was my first or second season playing at Easton's. Obviously, coming into the Eastern side, Grant Thompson, sort of the stalwart in the side. He's sort of keeping the side together there. There's one game we played in Free State. I'm pretty sure Grant remembers this game. We had to chase 350 on the last day to win. So if Grant can just carry on with that, maybe just give us some backstory on what happened on day 2, leading into day 3 when we need to chase 350, and then just sort of what happened there.
Yeah, thanks, Wes. Very interesting game that, I think. I'm a Cares boy, quite a tough guy. And here comes this little St. John's boy, thinks he's a little bit bigger than what he thinks he is, you know what I'm saying? So I just had to put him back in his place. So we had a little altercation on the field. I think someone dropped a catch and I wasn't too happy about it, and might have said a few obscene words or what it was. So needless to say, myself and Wes obviously had a bit of a altercation. Weren't really on speaking terms, to say the least, Wes.
No, look, we weren't in the best of places.
So anyway, we're coming to bat. I think it's the 4th innings of the game. We had a young Duan Olafir bowling. We were in a bit of trouble. We were about 40 for 4, 40 for 5 when we first came together. And we kind of just stood on the opposite ends of the pitch. We didn't really say much to each other. And the partnership started growing, and we started clawing our way out of a tough situation. Needless to say, it must have been about might have been just over 50, Wes?
Yeah, I was about 60 odd, yeah. About 60.
60 odd.
So really nice.
Yeah. So I've hit one, I don't know if it was a spinner or something, and Duan Olafir on the boundary went to take a catch, and I just started walking off, and Wes said, No, don't go anywhere, that's bounced. I said, Are you sure? He's like, Yeah. No, don't go anywhere. It's bounced. The umpires come together, and I was given not out, and we put on about 300, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but we chased that score down, and needless to say, we've been talking ever since.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But good story, and I think that's how myself and Wes became quite close after that, and the rest is history, as they say.
So it's true what they say. Cricket does teach you life lessons, and it takes you on proper paths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, 100% it does. Yeah.
Wes, what was key for you about that? Like, what was your conversations like in the middle when you did start speaking? Obviously, when you started realizing, flip, we can actually do this.
So I think I was sort of just, as a youngster coming in, sort of never having to have chased 350 or chased anything like that in the 4th inning. That not talking to Grant or anything actually helped in a way, because I just focused on myself and tried to focus on sort of sorting my own game out. Then once that wicket happened, or once that happened, it almost brought us closer together. And then we were sort of in it together. And then that almost kicked in. We were almost with not really too technical about what the bowlers are doing, more just about influence on the game and moral support stuff. And I think we ended up just having quite a bit of fun out there. We just couldn't believe what was happening, and we just ended up having a lot of fun and almost feeding off each other's energy. It was a special moment.
So, can you talk to me a little bit more about your relationship and how it took off from there? How has your friendship grown since then?
Yeah, I think what's been nice about our friendship is that sort of, if you're in the cricket industry and as a professional cricketer, you sort of work different hours to the normal world. So you almost need to become good mates with the people that you work with. Otherwise, you're not going to really have anyone to spend time with elsewhere. Where we sort of kind of always work on the weekends and sort of only half days during the week. If we have mates that are working in the corporate world, their weekends are their times off and they're busy during the week. So it's always really nice when you can sort of find things in common and click with people in your circle and spend a lot of time with them. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be spending most of your time with them. So it's always nice when you can find someone that you're good mates with.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I know you have another few questions lined up for Grant. You can go ahead and ask him.
Yeah, so I think what a lot of the viewers might want to know is, obviously, when you started, you weren't really in the captaincy role, and you sort of almost developed, as your career developed, into a leader and into a captain. So maybe just talk about how your experience and your growth as a human being sort of influenced your leadership and your captaincy style.
I think as a youngster, I think I was quite hot-headed and quite rash and bit up front and that. So I've had to temper that down in terms of my communication skills, understanding that that's not gonna rub everyone up the right way, and things like that. And then as you go, I think I first started captaining the Eastern's one-day side for a bit. And that also taught me a lot of lessons on how to communicate with different people. I think that was my biggest learning curve that I've had to learn as a captain. I think my cricket game, in terms of reading games and understanding cricket, was always fairly good. And then obviously working with at the Cricket Academy, I think that's one thing that really helped my understanding and the reading of a cricket game. I think was my coaching side of things. So I think that sped up that aspect. But like I said, I had to maybe calm down slightly, and then just like I said, my communication skills and how to get the best out of individuals. In a team environment, I think once you've got team goals, that's all very fair and well. But everyone's got their own type of personal aspirations as well, where you've got to keep that in mind as well, and how to keep everyone happy. So I think that's a tough one. And then obviously, going forward, captaining, bigger names now at the Titans. All of a sudden you've got 4 or 5 internationals in the team. So my captaincy style's changed again. Let's put it that way. Where I've got to, you can't be too abrupt and things like that to players that obviously I respect first and foremost, and then obviously have played at a higher level. So that's also taking a bit of getting used to as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I can speak on behalf of quite a few guys that have played under Grant. I think one of his best abilities is your ability to get the best out of different characters and different players. So I think when you captain a team like the Titans, like you say, captaining such higher names, that comes in handy when you have to manage a Dean Alger versus a youngster coming through something.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we're getting to a stage where if guys are playing for the Titans, they're not playing for South Africa, so they come down and they're maybe a bit disappointed, and to try and get them to give everything for that, as hard as it is, you must also understand that, when you're playing it for Easterns and you get a youngster coming up from the bottom, they're really happy to be there. They want to play for the Easterns name. And now when you're getting a few guys maybe coming back, you must also understand that they're going through different things and they're disappointed or, being left out or X, Y, and Z. So there's that frustration as well that you have to take into account now as a captain.
Yeah. And I think going with Grant as a cricketer, you spoke earlier, Khalid, about resilience. And I think that's a massive lesson for the youngsters coming through from the school system at the moment. Because I think a lot of those school kids, they see coming out of under 19, they're expecting cool franchise straight away, 1 or 2 years, and I'm playing for the Proteas. And they have sort of these unreal expectations. And sort of a guy like Grant, you can almost use as a blueprint and say, it is tough and you're going to have to work for it. And it doesn't always just come where you're Kagiso Rabada that plays for the Proteas 6 months after school. Sometimes there's a lot of hard work and graft. And if you want it enough, if you show that resilience, then the results will pay off as they have.
Yeah, because I've seen some of that happen recently, and I have a lot of conversations with those youngsters, because when I went to Kamajorda Week, those big names that get spoken about, like I think at my first one, Jason Niemand was one of the biggest players that came out of Kamajologi that season. He scored a massive centuries in that tournament, and he was really one of the first names on that school's team sheet. And he's had to now go to semi-pro cricket and have to perform over there now before he can get a franchise contract. Whereas he sees other guys like that were teammates with him, Sinitema Klashile, get a franchise contract straight away. You have guys like Marco Janssen following up that had a quick rise straight into SAA. So not for everybody it's going to happen like that. You'll have your guys like Zubair Hamza, where he had to play club cricket first, get his name out there, then make it the province side, then make the Cobra side, and then into the Proteas lineup. But there's a lot of stories out there. But Grant, yours, not only with regards to that journey, how to overcome injuries, etc., and still have that belief. It's incredible. And now listening to Wesley, what he's said about you and about that resilience is unbelievable. Wesley, anything else you want to ask?
Yeah, just a last question. Just what I'll get Grant's opinion. If you could have played any sport professionally, would it have been cricket? Because I know over a few bras you have told me about your heyday in the rugby field and what a great inside centre you were. So would that have been your goal, or would you have been a Liverpool player, or would you have still been a cricketer?
Yeah, it was a tough one, eh? I think my passion for rugby at a younger age, I think was maybe more than cricket. I think I just got recognised for cricket. Maybe a different era. If I had maybe a better, first team season, things like that. Things could have been different. I think I would love to have played rugby professionally. I think I've got the build for it. But again, injuries as well at the wrong time in micro rugby. I think at under 17 or under 16 level, going through the trials and that, I got to one of the last rounds and then I actually hurt my shoulder, so I couldn't carry on in the trials. Things like that. So that just didn't pan out that way. And I was always just more recognized for cricket. So once I started getting the taste of professional cricket, obviously my passion for rugby has dwindled quite a bit now. So yeah, I would have loved to have been a rugby player.
So Wesley, I have one for you, because we see Grant and he always has this captain aura about him when you speak to him, right? He's so confident and he's straight and he knows what he's going to say, etc. That's the guy that you get quite a hectic intensity. What's he like when he loosens up a bit? Is he a fun guy to have off the field, around and as a buddy, as a friend?
Yeah, look, take he speaks quite a lot and he's not sure himself when he speaks. Now just add a few beers into the mix there and it gets louder and it gets a bit more. But the best thing is if he loosens up and he has a few drinks, he becomes the most lovable guy in the world. He comes across as this hard exterior, tough cares boy. But then a few drinks in him and he's a very lovable St. John's boy.
That's shocking.
Wesley, thanks a lot for coming on the show and giving us some insight and getting some cool, awesome questions out of him, answers out of him. I'm sure I'm going to chat to you again sometime soon. Thanks a lot. Grant, is there any words you want for Wesley before he goes?
No, I think we spoke enough over the weekend.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Wes.
Sweet boy.
Cheers,
buddy.
Yeah, Grant. So that was awesome. It got me into a lot more about your personality and the way you are and your thought processes. I mean, that story about that record chase is unbelievable. We see it, you see it on in articles and you'll see it on Crick Infos and etc. But you'll never really understand what really went behind that and what went through that. So I'm going to get into one last question from my side and then we can get into the comments in the comment section. It's about the Titans, and obviously you taking over the captaincy over there, massive franchise, massive responsibility. Talk to me about that and some of the highlights and some of the lows that you've faced, getting your franchise contract, etc., and playing for the Titans.
Yeah, again, it's been quite a roller coaster ride as well with the Titans. Playing a few games, then I lost my contract, so I didn't really know if I was going to play again. Then playing a season, I was one day player of the season for the Titans. under Rob Walter. Playing a couple of games, 4-day games that season as well. Winning a few trophies with them. Then not playing a game the next season because the likes of LB and Dave Visser and those guys being around. So up and down there, but always around those type of players in and around the squad. And then again, getting a few games here and there. So that's been quite tough to come in and out of the side. As international players come in and out, and big players like your LB Morkels and Dave Vissers and those type of guys are around. So it has been challenging for me personally. But in saying that, to be around those type of players, you learn so much, and to be part of the Titans team for the last five or 6 years, going through. I mean, we've won so many trophies, and you play with the likes of AB de Villiers every now and then, and Eamon Fuff. I was captaining against the Warriors, and here's Fuff, playing for you. Fuff, Dean Elgar, Aidan Markram, Tennis de Bruin, these type of players. So it's amazing. Even Heinrich Klaassen, and then you got the likes of Junior Dala, Lungi Gidi, Tabray Shamsi. So to have these guys and rubbing shoulders with these guys on a daily basis, you learn a lot about the game, and you're watching the best in the world, on a daily basis, which is, for me, as first and foremost as a cricket lover, it's fantastic. You see these guys and you get to spend some time with them and pick their brains. So I think that's been the motivation for me. I've always wanted to play for the Titans because of that. You're with really good players all the time, and that's going to rub off on you. You're going to get better by association, type of thing. Being around those type of players, they push you to become better. Just facing them in the nets and things like that. Seeing them play on a daily basis. So I think that's been a highlight, and obviously being a part of a winning team. That's special. The celebrations, and those moments. One of my favorite moments is the 50 over win in Cape Town when Dean Elgar and Albie Morkel, both got hundreds to win that game from nowhere, and I was carrying drinks. So just it sounds strange, but obviously, that's one of the highlights. And then, last season, coming straight into the 4-day team and being captain, we started off beautifully. We won the first game, and then after that we were just really inconsistent. So I think that as a captain is tough when you've seen the quality and you know what these guys can produce, and we're just not getting there. Yes, we finished second. Only 5 or 6 points behind the Lions. But and then to get that back and to get us back up, and to see the cricket that we played towards the end of our 4-day campaign, that was again really pleasing. So you a bit of a roller coaster of emotion there. And then the 1-day comp as well, that was also really tough because I was in and out of the side. So I wasn't playing, then I was playing, then I was captain, then I wasn't playing. So that was also tough mentally, because obviously as captain you've got to have your ducks in a row in terms of each role of certain players and X, Y, and Z, and you got to kind of understand that. So to go from playing, then you kind of just really focusing on your own game and those type of things where you're gonna bat and bowl and those type of things and your roles in the team. Then the night before saying, okay, well, X, Y, and Z is not playing, so you're gonna captain as well. So those are those things that so now you've got to get everything up and running. So in terms of that was quite tough, and that's been a challenge. I feel for maybe the last couple of years, where because of the amount of SA players that we have, that the captaincy after Albie's, obviously Albie was captaining all white ball stuff, so it was kind of set in stone. And then you had Henry Davids and the likes doing the 4-day stuff. So it was quite set in stone. So I think that's been the biggest challenge for us.
Yeah. And I think viewers don't really know that and don't really see that. They don't understand that when they see certain players not playing with regards to, it could be various reasons. It's not just the reasons that they think it is. For example, players coming in and out of the side. Obviously, with the Proteas playing, they have to play. If they contracted, they have to play when they come back. So you lose your spot. And then, I mean, mentally, that must have been incredible for you to overcome those type of things. So is there a specific advice that you can give someone that's going through something similar like that?
I think it's good to be upset, and it's good to be to hurt, because that means that you actually care.
Yeah.
So obviously there is disappointment, and it's about how you allow yourself to feel those things. I think first and foremost, everyone says, "Yo, how do you do it?" And, well, when I get dropped, I hurt. I'm a human being. I've got feelings and emotions. So I think I first and foremost feel that, and I'll understand why I'm feeling it and go through it, and allow myself to process it. But then once I give myself a certain amount of time, and then once the game starts, or once I get to the ground and I know I'm not playing, or whatever the case may be, it's about serving the team now as best as I can from the outside, as per se, carrying drinks or something like that. You don't know. Sometimes, when you're carrying drinks and just a word of encouragement or something like that could go a long way, or a little bit of advice here and there. So I think those are ways that I try and help, and I try and be the best, 12th man or whatever. I try and impact the game from other ways. So it is disappointing, and it's not easy, But once I've heard the news and once I've dealt with it, then I kind of move on to try and make a positive impact for the team, and that kind of takes my mind off of that, and understanding that I've got a job still to do,
Yeah, awesome. So let's get into the comment section. We've got the first one I'm going to ask is Daniel's one, because we got a few from Ravi already that follows each other that has a nice flow to it. So I'm going to ask you this one first, and that's from Daniel. He says, Grant, as someone who has been in the first class setting for a long time, how would you say the standard has changed over the last decade or so? Better, worse, or the same?
Yeah, look, it's a tough one, because in our podcast, we actually went and spoke about this, but I think the standard of cricket has maybe come down slightly, but not because of skill. I think the skill level is actually better. So batting, bowling wise, and that type of stuff. I think that obviously the skill level has improved really, to a relative standard. I think that's improved. But I think that, like the guys were saying, that the hardness of the cricket, and that's there for various reasons. Maybe that's the hardened cricketer is not around as much, in your face, so that type of stuff. So I think the numbers have obviously gone down as well. Like guys, because of the skill level, guys are moving the game quite quickly. You're seeing scores of over 300 quite regularly. So with that will come obviously your numbers will decrease as well, because guys are playing a bit more of an expansive type of game. So if guys look at that as well, and then as well as when I first started playing first class cricket, I always use the analogy, when you go to high school and the matrics look so big and they got this aura about them and they seem invincible, and then 5 years down the line you meet them out of school and you're taller than them and you're bigger than them, or whatever the case may be. But that's kind of it's tough, because you go through that transition as a cricketer. So it's always tough for a guy in the system to see, because your game's improving. You going through that transition period as well. So in my opinion, I think the amount of really good players in each team has maybe diminished, but there's still so many match winners out there in their own way, if I can answer it like that.
Yo, that's incredible. So actually, I want to continue. I'm gonna ask some of my own to add to this. When you see the My concern is with regard to first class cricket, and obviously first class cricket is basically the first level before you get to test cricket, and it's kind of our feeder into our test cricket team. My concern is that at school level now these days, there's not a lot of opportunities for the younger guys to play the longer format. I mean, if you look at England and you look at India, for example, with the Ranji trophies and all of those things that they have, and with county cricket, etc. A lot of 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds are playing the longer format from a young age. And in South Africa, there used to be that 3-day competition that used to happen for the school kids out of school. I don't think it's happening anymore. But what sort of how do you think South Africa can improve that? Getting the younger kids playing more.
So that's exactly what we're talking about. The hardened cricketer, the guys aren't playing enough of this longer version. So when they come in, they can bat. Their skill is gun. Their skills are really good, and actually maybe too good, because you're getting a guy coming from school that can play every shot in the book. But now on certain conditions, those certain shots now become risky. So if the ball's moving around and that, driving on a slope, all these type of things you got to take into account. But these guys are so good at their skill that they'll back themselves to do it, and that's where an older, maybe wiser guy can will just think them out.
Yeah,
they'll get a good 30 and nick off. Where the hardened cricketer will get a start and go and get a big score. So that's I think that's our point. It's not the skill that's coming across. It's what's between the ears, and you can't blame the cricketer. It's not the youngster's fault that he hasn't played 3-day cricket or 4-day cricket. It's back in when I was a Gauteng under 19, we had a separate tournament that we played 3-day cricket against all the inland guys. So the inland guys would play. So the Gauteng, Northwest, Northerns, Easterns. We'd kind of play 4 or 5 rounds of cricket, maybe even a Free State and a Griquas would join us. And then the coastal guys would do the same. And we'd have a winner of those 2 groups play and things like that. So you end up playing 6, 7 or 8 3-day cricket games in that as well. Where I don't believe they do that anymore now as well. So, and also kids don't watch cricket. You hardly see a youngster watching cricket unless it's on SuperSport catch up or the highlights, and they see wicket 4 or 6. So I think the understanding of the game is lost in that. So I think it's also the way kids are getting coached these days. There's a lot of private coaches out there who kind of really focus on the technical side and giving the kids all the tools to go and play. But, you look at like a guy like A.B. de Villiers, he didn't start playing for South Africa scooping and reverse sweeping and things like that. He took 3 or 4 years playing first, international cricket before he started doing these extravagant shots, shall we say. And the youngsters are coming in now and reverse sweeping their second ball. And so they're playing high-risk cricket. And yes, it is high risk and it pays off for a certain amount of time. Like I said, the older guy will be a bit more patient, a little bit. The hardened guy, he'll be a bit more patient. He'll be clever, and they kind of work that towards that way, as not their skill letting them down, their brain.
Yeah, and for me, I think that's awesome because with the I call it transfers. I know it's a lot like soccer. I'm using a soccer analogy basically, but there were so many movements across now the board. There's so many retirements that has happened with the senior players leaving, and youngsters now have to step up into senior roles in a lot of the other teams and your opposition teams. So guys like you are very important in those sides to keep those level heads and give those lessons that they need. So Ravi has one for you. So after a lengthy career in franchise cricket, what is next for Grant Thomson? He's also asked a follow-up. Would you ever consider playing overseas?
So I think, well, hopefully I can captain the Titans for the next 4 or 5 seasons. And that is what's next for me, I hope. I'm really passionate about the brand. I love playing my cricket at the Titans. So so that's what's coming, hopefully in the next couple of years. And then overseas, I mean, I think the county cricket, the whole culture around the way they play the game and things like that, the crowds that they pull, is amazing. So I definitely love to play 1 or 2 seasons over, as even whatever I can, try and get my hands on a county gig, just to experience that as well. Different culture. I played a bit of club cricket in England for 3 or 4 years. So you obviously go to the county games and you see the atmosphere and and the standard. Chatting to guys like Dane Villas and even like Mornay and guys like that and Dean as well about county cricket and the standard. It comes with its own challenges. You can't say it's better or worse because it's completely different conditions and things like that. So it would be nice as a cricketer to test your skill and get into a different environment as well.
Yeah, I want to ask you because Dean is one of my favorite Protea players. The way he conducts himself in press conferences, the way he approaches the game, the die-hardness that he shows with that, and the pride that he shows with that badge when he takes those balls to the body and continues going. So he's one of my favorite Proteas players. I wanted to ask you more about him. You would know more about him, obviously, and what type of character he is and what makes him actually really special.
I think Dean's a tough one to put your finger on. I think first coming into the team, he does come across as really intense and intimidating. I'd say that's how he comes across. But once you get to know him, he's a hell of a nice guy. He is passionate. He loves. He's passionate about South Africa and playing for South Africa. He's passionate about the Titans. So it's great to have that guy, that type of guy on your team, and he expects a lot from his players, which is fantastic, and I think people sometimes misunderstand that, as him being nasty or whatever the case may be, but he's actually doing it for you, for you to improve and for the brand to improve as well. So. I love having Dean around, and like you say, he's a fantastic player. I think he averaged something like 56 for us in the white ball competition for the Titans now as well. So, he's not limited to just the one format. I think he still has a lot to offer South African cricket in white ball cricket as well, in my opinion. But then obviously going forward in the Test matches, he's a senior player now, and he's played for a number of years, and he's just so clever, cricket-wise. I'm not saying he's not off other than that, but his cricket brain is brilliant, and I think that comes from his experience.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some quick non-cricket related questions now. We'll start off with Ravi's question. Maybe I can elaborate on that first. So he says, what's on your YouTube music playlist, or what's in your CD collection for season campaigners like you and
I? Sure. I think I'll start off with like a little bit of Eagle Eye Cherry, something like that. I do like a lot of Stain, a little bit of... I want to say soft rock, the old school type of stuff. I'm not really in tune with the music of today. So, which is, a little bit of Blink 182, those type of guys. I think American Pie soundtrack is pretty much where I'm going to start.
Cool, that's awesome. Then you must listen to Machine Gun Kelly's new album, Tickets to My Downfall. He's been teaming up with Travis Barker. He's my favorite artist of this generation. He's teamed up with Travis Barker now on his new album, Tickets to My Downfall, which is going to be coming out soon. I must check the date. Yeah. But he has a song called Bloody Valentine that came out recently, which is like that typical 2000s pop rock type of song. So have a listen to that. Maybe you'll enjoy that. The music video is cool. The live performance is really cool because you'll see how Travis plays, man. Like the way he moves the sticks, and it's crazy the way he plays, man. Amazing.
No, I'll check that out. Yeah, like I said, I'm not really in tune as.
With regards to your off time now, have you been doing anything with regards to, like, I know a lot of coaches, like, I don't know if you saw that Ashwell Prince and Shukri Conrad and them and Vinnie Barnes have been trying like these cooking challenges, making sisters and rolls and stuff. Have you been trying any cooking, or what's on your Netflix playlist, for example?
Yeah, I went through quite a lot of Netflix, seeing as well I wasn't allowed to do anything. So yeah, finished loads of series, but yeah, I think the one with Michael Jordan now, I've started watching that. I think I'm on episode 4, so really enjoying that. Rewatching a little bit of New Girl. It's quite funny. So yeah, yes, yeah. So yeah, watching a bit of that, and then to be funny enough, I don't know how it came about actually, but I was watching something on YouTube and it said next, when it goes to the next video, and it looked quite interesting, and it was something about CrossFit, and geez, that caught me. So I've been watching CrossFit games and documentaries on all these CrossFitters. Yeah, I've been really into that, so that's been keeping me busy, because I found that quite interesting, in the way they train and their professionalism and all those type of things. It's quite appealing. So yeah, that from left field, that caught me. I didn't even expect that, but yeah, I watched quite a lot of that. So
awesome. So thanks a lot for coming on the show, Grant. I really enjoyed it. I really got to know you a lot better, and I'm hoping that we can catch up again sometime in the future and have some more chats. Maybe we can have some more in-depth cricket discussions on. Maybe you can come on our podcast. We have a podcast on a Sunday evening where we just lay back and talk to the fans about certain topics. That would be awesome to have you on there. But thanks a lot for coming on here. Just lastly, can you just give a message to the Cricket Fanatics fans that have asked you to come on the board?
Yeah, no, thanks very much for having me. I think to the fans, I think now, especially in South Africa, we need the fan more than ever. That's one of our things that we're trying to do as players, and I think is to get the people to come and watch live cricket as well. I think that's been lacking in South Africa, and yeah, we are people as well at the end of the day, as cricketers. So don't be shy to reach out and chat to us and things like that. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Grant, and I hope your family stays healthy and safe and during this period, and you too. And good luck for the new season when you guys do get on up to training, etc. And when you get back on your feet, etc.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks very much, and you too.
See you, man. Thanks.
Cheers.